It was any other morning as Spencer walked in a little bit late to class. Little did he know, in 5 minutes, being late to class would be the least of his worries. It was 9:04 on December 6th, the year 1917, Sackville High School. Spencer felt the biggest rumble in the foundations of his school he had ever known. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering what would rumble a school like that. Well, what I'm talking to you guys today about is what's called the Halifax Explosion. Now, Halifax is actually my hometown. It's where I grew up for 17 years. And a cool fact about Halifax is it's actually the home of the second largest man-made explosion in the history of the world. The Halifax explosion happened because of the collision of two boats. At the time, it was in the Second World War. And the SS Mont Blanc and Norwegian ship SS Imo collided. On board the Mont Blanc ship was an estimated 3 kilotons of TNT that was going out to the war to supply the warships. The ships collided in what's called the Halifax Harbor, and it took about 20 minutes for the fire on board the ship to explode. About 2,000 people died that day from debris fires and collapsed buildings, and about 9,000 others were left wounded. Now, I'm sure you can imagine what this would look like. The entire city today, Halifax, the reason it's not one of the largest cities in all of Canada is because of this explosion. The entire city just demolished. So all the time they could have spent expanding, they actually spent rebuilding. Here's a quote from one of the sites that I was reading about the Halifax explosion. It says, "A pressure wave of air snapped trees, bent iron rails, demolished buildings, grounded vessels, and carried fragments of the Mont Blanc, which is the ship, for miles. Hardly a window in the city even survived the concussion." It says that in Truro, which is 45 minutes north of Halifax, they actually felt the vibrations of the windows in the schools. Another story, there was actually an anchor. The anchor from the Mont SS was found about 3 miles outside of the explosion. That's just to give you an idea of how large the explosion. Now, obviously, rescue crews and everybody, as soon as the explosion happened, were rushing to save lives of the people hidden in the debris and all of those things. But the tragedy, one of the biggest tragedies, because it happened in December, the very next day, while rescue crews were still trying to save people, there was actually one of the largest snow blizzards in the history of Halifax that just struck that place that day. So all the rescue queues that were coming in, trains, and all those things had to be canceled. So anyone left surviving would have froze to death in that blizzard. A cool fact about this is that Boston, the city of Boston here in the United States, sent many rescue people to bring food supplies and shelter and all those things to the people in the blizzard. Because of Boston's courageous people that they sent, now every year Halifax supplies them with a huge Christmas tree that they hang up in the center of Boston. So that's a little bit of informative about my hometown, Halifax. Hope you guys enjoyed it.